welcome to this beautiful time together. I am so glad that you are here. And whether you are able to listen in when it's live or you are listening in later on as a podcast or you are watching after it's aired, I just am so grateful that you are here. We are truly a growing international audience. And so if you are sensing that there are people around the world who are listening in and learning and expanding along with you, you are absolutely correct. Today, I'm so excited to bring in somebody that I've known for a number of years who has literally impacted your life with music in ways that you may not be aware of, and that's okay. She comes from a broad background of all kinds of incredible things, is multilingual, travels the world, and I'm so excited to call her my friend, Marcy Bulkeley. I am just super excited that you are here, friend.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here, Sarah. Thank you so much for asking me to be on Simply Sarah. Such an honor to be with you.
Oh, I am just all tingly because I know that this conversation is going to be one that people will listen to and then come back and re-listen to as well.
I hope so. I hope it gets through people.
Tell me, friend, a little bit about how you got to where you are today. I know that you have so many different avenues in your life, that you are somebody who has really looked at who you are and the arts and how can you be engaged in that and impacting the world with that, but also somebody who has recently opened up something called Subtle Mother that has been so amazing and reflective for me. And so did you grow up with parents who were entrepreneurs, who were musicians? How did you get to where you are today, friend?
I grew up with music lovers. My parents were actually travel agents, so they planted the seed for my love of travel and exploring the world. But they played music, everything from the Beatles to film scores like Out of Africa by John Barry. They introduced me to the music of David Bowie pretty early through the movie Labyrinth, which actually got me thinking about how music is used in film in a bigger way. And I remember when I was young, I would just pick up on lyrics because they were saying what I didn't know how to say yet. And they were expressing what I didn't quite know how to put into words yet as a young person. So, I paid attention to the music in movies, and I paid attention to the way that music made me feel and the experiences that music brought with it. And I remember when I was really young, I wanted to be a pediatrician because I wanted to take care of other kids. Yeah. And then that turned into a vet because I loved dogs. And but then when I was 11 years old, dogs and cats. When I was 11 years old, I told my dad that I wanted to put music to picture, not quite understanding what that meant yet. And I started, really paying attention, even like Dirty Dancing, and buying the only cassettes I bought at that time were film soundtracks. So I started paying attention, and my life led me in a lot of different directions as a young person. I did a lot of self-discovery in some very non-traditional ways, including addiction and just really experiencing life at its fullest from an early age. We can go more into that later. And but through it all, music was that one thing that kept me feeling safe and understood and seen. So, I was a raver. I went to raves as a young person. My brother owned a company that did the lasers and lights for raves. So we were going to raves. My parents would actually drop me off at them 10 o'clock at night. and I would just dance and feel, and it would just be amazing. And I discovered Emerson College at a young age, and I set my sights on Emerson College, which is a liberal arts college that focuses on film, TV, and music production. And I ended up going there and, worked my way through various places in the music industry, and took all of what I knew from the music industry and worked in record labels, and I worked in publishing companies, and I worked for producers. So I would understand everything it took to get a piece of music into a TV production or a film trailer. So I eventually started working in film trailers. I was the music supervisor for various film trailer companies. So all of the entertainment marketing, I was in charge of the music. So like Inception, Dumbo, Widows, some pretty cool campaigns. I was known for doing the bespoke style. So we were creating new music for the film trailers and ads, and I loved it. And through all of that, I was getting sober. I'm currently 16 years sober, and thank you. It's something that is very sacred to me. My sobriety and my peace are very sacred. And so, being in the music industry in Los Angeles and in the entertainment industry, there's a lot of whining and dining and taking people out to drinks and whatnot. So I had to kind of learn my role and how to be social and how to be out in this world without the crutch of alcohol that I had used for almost 20 years before. So these two things were kind of happening at the same time, me learning how to be my most authentic self in the world, while balancing this career of a music supervisor in the industry. So, that led me down the path of Kundalini Yoga, doing teacher trainings and Reiki, and various healing modalities that could help me stay grounded and very connected to myself and understanding who I was at my core, so that didn't waver out in the world. I didn't bend to the stress, or I didn't bend to the egos or the personalities that come with working in the music industry. I could stand true, like a tree, in knowing myself. And it was through these various modalities that helped me stay stable within the industry. So.
Oh, Marcy, I so appreciate you sharing the breadth of all that you have done and how you got there, the journey of that, but also the part about healing.
Mm-hmm.
You're expanding.
Yep.
And I think that is such a beautiful piece for our listeners to be pushing into and leaning into, because we don't have to do these things separately. We don't have to pull away from what we love in order to heal. And we don't have to push harder into what we love in order to lose ourselves. And we can really do both of those things at the same time.
Yep.
That is incredibly powerful. In the space of Hollywood and alcohol, did you find that there was a particular drink that you choose now, that you can just walk up and say, this is what I want? Or is that something that kind of changes depending on where you are and what the event happens to be?
I think what the event happens to be, I'm a big Shirley Temple girl. I allow myself to have that treat of a Shirley Temple, and it kind of, it makes people smile when they ask me what I'm drinking and I say a Shirley Temple. It's delicious and it's sweet and it's fun and it's nostalgic. But most of the time I'm just drinking water. Yeah. I'm hydrating at the same time, because I'm knowing that that's keeping me even more in my body and adding to the health and adding to my self-care in the moment. And it's just watering me for what comes next. So, but yeah, oftentimes I'll start my nights with Shirley Temples.
I love that. Yeah. That was so fun. And you're right about being nostalgic.
I'm big into nostalgia.
Yes. Friend, you have recently come back from a really tremendous trip, and we're going to take a quick commercial break here because I want us to really dive into what that has opened up for you, or what the last 6 months, a year has opened up, because you have been moving into some new areas and doing some new things. So let's take a quick break here so that that part is uninterrupted.
Amazing.
Hi, I'm Sarah Stockham. Recently, we were doing some renovation work, and as we were doing all of the decorating, the color blue, specifically cobalt, kept showing up for me in different areas in different ways. And I thought, what I really want is a signature piece that is in cobalt. So I went to Glass Arts Collective and found this amazing piece. I absolutely love it. In fact, when it arrived, my husband wanted it. It is so beautiful. It's nice and heavy. It was perfectly packaged. So when it came, there was no concern at all about if it was going to show up all right or not. I love that it's handmade. I love that it's unique. And I invite you to go to the glassartscollective.com and go shopping. Pick something up for yourself. Pick up some gifts for others. I know that you will enjoy how beautiful the work is. Welcome back to Simply Sarah. I am so pleased that Marcy is ready to share this next part of our conversation. You have just gotten back. It hasn't even been, you got back, I think, before all of the things began happening with traveling and stuff. But I'm just so glad that you are in town and that you can share a little bit about how expansive this trip was for you. A trip that at some point I would like to be able to take into South America.
Okay, yeah. Well, I just got back from Colombia. I actually left on Saturday, so we were not sure if we were going to make it back because of delays and whatnot with the travel stuff, but we got back. All of our planes were on time. It was a blessing. But I recently went to Colombia. I have been working with plant medicines for, I don't know, about 8 years now. And they come from the Amazon. And I've been working with a taita, which means father or teacher. And he's a multi-generational medicine man. And he and his family have built an 84-acre farm outside of Cali, Colombia. And it's up in the mountains. And it is wild. It is absolutely wild. And this medicine has provided a lot of healing for me and my husband. And I wanted to go to the land where it came from to honor it and to learn more about it and to learn more about the processes and the different plants that are allies to it, like tobacco and various flowers and essences that you use along with it in a ceremonial way. And so we decided to take this trip. My husband's been going through cancer treatment for the last 2 years, and this was his first time leaving the country since 2019. Mm-hmm. And it was to partake in this retreat with our taita. And so we were there for a week with a lot of our community, and my best friend of 23 years was there, and just a lot of incredible people. There was a gentleman there who would come all the way from Melbourne, Australia, for his first time working with this medicine. And he and I had a lot in common. We ended up sitting next to each other. We had a lot in common regarding the addiction and whatnot. So we were able to really help each other and talk to each other about our experiences. And I was able to share with them how the medicine validates my sobriety and helps me honor what it's opened up for me in my life. And so we had a couple of nights of nights off where we partook in ceremonial rapé, which is a tobacco. It's like a snuff style tobacco that really grounds you into your body. There's another medicine called sananga, which is eye drops that they put into your eyes, which literally feels like somebody is putting glass into your eyes, but it's what the hunters use at night for their night vision. And so it really opens up the crown and it allows you just to see. And I was able to see almost panoramic style when I after the drops, but it took me about 30 minutes to kind of calm myself down from the pain. I was shared at one point that it brought me to the brink of almost what I considered insanity, where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle this. And then my higher self comes in and says, no, you can do this. Remember all of the things that you have experienced in your life. Remember all of the times that you have brought yourself back from a brink, and just breathe deeply, and like send your body love, send your eyes love, send your heart love for being so courageous to step into an experience like this. So I was able to bring myself back down into a state of relaxation again. And that level of relaxation was deeper than anything I had experienced in a really long time, because I was the source of it. And I was the source of bringing myself back again into that peaceful state. And I was like high five. I was like, woo, high five. So high fiving myself and the other people around me doing it. And so then we had 4 nights of the ayahuasca, which is known as yahe in Colombia. And it comes from deep, 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 deep in the forest. Like my Taita, his teacher, goes really, really, really deep into the Amazon to get it. And to make it, and to make sure that it's prayed over, and to make sure that it's served with integrity. And it was incredibly powerful. Like being in Colombia and the land with its home court advantage, we're in something called a maloca, which is a ceremonial space. And it was up in a mountain with a view of all of Cali and Colombia, with a mountain range far in the distance, and everything was sparkling, and the sky was putting on a show for us. It was lightning here, then lightning here, then lightning here, then a zigzag lightning here. And so I had like Father Sky, and then like Mother Earth was holding us and pulsating, and I could smell all the smells of nature. And then the birds were going, and we could hear the monkeys in the distance. And so all of the elements, it was like I understood that we were being orchestrated by the elements, by God, by Mother Earth. And it was it was scary. It was intimidating at first. I was like, woof, like these elements are so powerful, and they have such control, like they have so much more control than we give them credit for. And then, it just put me in a place of like deep listening and deep, like absorbing and really feeling held. So there were 2 nighs. And then there was a night off where we could just like take a steam shower in the steam room and be in the jacuzzi and eat a lot of the nourishing, beautiful fruits and the foods and the plantains. And then we had 2 more nights. And typically I do 3 nights in a row. I've never done 4. So this felt like a lot, and it was hard. And I witnessed, my husband receive a very profound healing on the final night from Taita, and then shake off everything that his body has been holding for about 20 years. And it was really hard to watch. But I sat with him, and I delivered Reiki and sent Reiki, and just provided like a calm space for him. And I breathed for him. Witnessing a lot of my other friends going through it, but having to stay in my space and really take care of myself and trust that they were being taken care of in their own ways. So there was just a lot of lessons, a lot of expansion, a lot of grounding that happened. I felt that I had an upgrade to my third eye. Danny, my husband, was gifted a necklace, 2,200-year-old necklace to wear one night, that was found in a pyramid on the property. And there's all of these artifacts all over the property. They're over 2,000 years old. And there was a necklace that belonged to an Incan princess. And I went up to give Danny a hug from behind as he was playing drums in the ceremony. Music is a huge part of that. I'll get to that soon. It's part of Subtle Mother story, but I went to go give Danny a hug from behind, and I could feel activated by the necklace. I felt the necklace just like infuse itself in me and heal my womb space, heal my body. And then I put my head down next to it, and I'd been having some memory issues, and and like some headaches lately, and I felt pressure in my head, and I just felt like windshield wipers going in my third eye and just opening it up again to that panoramic vision. So so much happened, so much beautiful wisdom and necessary challenges that I was able to work through. So it's a beautiful country. It's a wild country. It's but the people are outstanding. And yeah.
We've had another guest on our show, Susan Fish Good, and she spent time growing up there. And
Oh, wow.
says so many similar things in terms of how beautiful the country is and how warm the people are as well. That they are just, they understand the connection to the earth.
Yes.
And how that benefits them in terms of being in conversation with people who maybe have grown up in high rises and that kind of thing. And it's such a beautiful thing.
It's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, it's the birth. We were right near Cali, Colombia, which is like the home of salsa dancing. So, when you think of salsa dancing, it's pure joy. They're having so much fun. So that energy in the movie Encanto, the Pixar, I felt like I kept on saying, I was like, I am living in Encanto right now. Like,
yes.
Jenny had an experience with a jaguar. I felt like I had turned into a lioness at one point, and felt the medicine of the animals come through, and just the energy of that country. So I can't wait to go back.
Before we get to Subtle Mother, I would love for you to share advice. I've never done plant medicine. And so I've been in the presence of those who have offered tobacco to the earth, and I have so I've seen offerings, right? If somebody's considering, what advice would you give them as they are processing who they are, their place in leadership, their place potentially in entrepreneurship, their place in their heart? What advice would you give to somebody who's considering plant medicine?
I would say, sit with it for a while, because some people are called, and like I was introduced to it by our mutual friend, Jessica, and I knew she was doing it, and I didn't do it for about a year. I sat with it and I waited for the call to come multiple times, and then the call came, and I had sat with multiple different facilitators. And I think the most important thing is talking to people about it, and feeling in, using your own intuition, your heart, and feeling into the type of person that you want to serve it to you, the type of environment that you want to be in. Do you want to be in Colombia? Do you want to be in the forest? Do you want to be close to home in the city? Like, take all of that into consideration. And I learned the difference between a facilitator and a generational medicine man. Somebody who had, just studied in the jungle versus somebody from the jungle.
Right.
And there's a big difference in the way it's served. And, I wanted, I'm grateful that I had found my taita, and found him 3 years ago. And when the first night I ever sat with him, I felt the difference. I felt the love, like he is a vessel of love. All he is transmitting and bringing us back to is love. There's no ego, there's no, and you need to be open to surrendering completely to the medicine and what it wants to show you. Really using your breath. Breath is so important, like having a steady breath. So having a breathwork practice going into it. You're going to be told to just breathe naturally in it, but like find your own natural breath, what that means for you, your calming breath, because, you're going to go into spaces that are going to be confusing, and your breath is going to be what tethers you to the space. Just be open, go in there with an intention, but also go in there asking the medicine to show you what you need to see. I've kind of stopped going in with super, super honed in, precise, like I need to know this, 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 and this. And the medicine still delivers me that and more. Yeah. So it's really like keeping an open mind, keeping, an openness to everything that's going to come your way. And some of it's going to be scary and, like I said, confusing and sometimes maybe dark, but that shows you back to the light again.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I so appreciate, Marcy, you talking about allowing the call to happen more than once, to sit with that, to be in that space. And when you're in that space, you're not just sitting quietly, you're still working on yourself. You're still taking time to work on your breath. I think that you're absolutely right about our breath work is one of the most important things for us to hone in on. And I know that I had done multiple different ways of breathing and was introduced to a different way this last year that has really made a huge difference for me, where I start with letting all of the air out and contracting the lower abdominal area, and then relaxing that, and then breathing into it, pulling the air up to my shoulders, taking a few extra sniffs of air, just like when we hold little babies and they're relaxing. And take those extra little gulps of air, and that just tells the nervous system, it's actually us saying to the nervous system, you're in an okay place. Releasing all of that and going back to just a regular breathing pattern for a couple, and then coming back into it again. And I find that the extra oxygen really makes a difference in how I feel and how grounded I am experiencing life in that particular moment, no matter what stress or what circumstances I'm going through in that place.
100%. I was going through some very challenging times on the fourth night, and Taita had been instilling in me throughout the previous nights, like protect your peace and have a peaceful heart. And so when I was going through some really challenging times, I had the option of either lying back on my pillow into my comfort zone, which was actually incredibly uncomfortable. And like, I felt nauseous and I felt like icky, and I felt like the darker thoughts were starting to prevail. And so my breath, my peaceful heart was like, Marcy, if you sit up and you breathe your beautiful breath, you're going to feel better. And it's going to take a little while, but maybe get up and move around and dance a little bit to this beautiful music. And then my heart was saying, your breath is so beautiful, Marcy. Your breath is so beautiful, Marcy. Like, breathe it through your body and you're going to move through this. So I was feeling incredible discomfort and the form of nausea and just overall ickiness. But it was my heart and my breath that were like speaking and moving together to like bring me back into this, like, no, you're okay. Remember the Sananga, you brought yourself back through your breath. Bring yourself back through your breath again and your movement and your dancing. So it was really powerful.
And what incredible tools you are gifting us right now, Marcy, the idea of really being aware of our breath, but also movement. And if you can, to take the shoes off, to be able to feel what's underneath, is just what a beautiful, beautiful gift.
Oh yeah, dancing is my medicine. And Sarah, I'm always the one dancing in ceremony because, you purge, you throw up, both ways.
Yes.
Sometimes I have trouble purging and I want to, my body wants to. And then sometimes when I dance, it moves the medicine through my body, subtly collecting all of the different things that need to go, and then I'm able to purge, and then I'm just dancing again. So I'm like, and then woo.
Yes, back at it.
Back at it, singing along to the music, and
yes. Is the music most often live?
Oh, it's always live. It's never, there's no electronics in the room. We actually turn our phones off, put them in the bag, and the bag is taken far away.
I love that.
And there's the most incredible singers in my community, and where I'm doing recording projects with them as we speak. And the music is sometimes in Spanish. The music is sometimes in Zulu languages, and sometimes in English. And it's medicine music. It's incredible. It's absolutely inspiring, beautiful music that the world is going to be hearing more of soon.
I am so excited. So excited. Can't wait for that to happen. Tell us a little bit about Subtle Mother.
Wow. So Subtle Mother came to me. She just had her third birthday, so she's a toddler. And so she came to me, and my first night ever sitting with my taita. First time I'd ever met this community. I met them through my acupuncturist, and at 3:00 in the morning, I had, I was having kind of a rough time and trying to understand why certain things had happened in my life and whatnot. And I got the message, "You are a subtle mother," and subtle mother. And there was a woman singing in the ceremony that had a voice of a million angels. She's incredible. She's an artist that I'm working with as well. And the medicine said, "Subtle mother, your responsibility is to bring this music into the world in a very reverent, respectful, and protected way.
Yes.
And you're going to be a space where people can explore their creativity in very rooted ways that involve, looking at the dreams, going back into your ancestry, finding where your ancestors were from, using that to like bring the music forth, breath work and music, and using like I had done through my sobriety and working in the industry, using all these healing modalities is what I need to be bringing to the artists in order to bring out their most authentic sounds and creativity and healing, like creating from a very healed space and a healing space. We're never totally healed. We're always in a state of healing, or at least helping others to find their state of healing. So we're like, Subtle Mother is, I am Subtle Mother, but also Subtle Mother is a space. It's a playground. It's a space of discovery. It's a space of community and opportunities to come together to create and to bring more harmony and love and prayer into the world.
I love that you talked about a playground and then that space of creating. I do think that when we are giving ourselves the space to play, that we do discover, that we do create. And when we look at a timeline and say, okay, I have to have this done by here, it can happen. But if we adhere ourselves to it, it can start to become more like a sled moving forward rather than a creative opportunity moving forward. And yes, that you are creating that space that is a playful place, a place that you can come and experience and be upgrading their craft by becoming more authentic of who they are.
Yeah. And becoming more vulnerable and feeling safe to be vulnerable. And I've often seen the music industry, no disrespect to it, but, major record labels are not super kind to the artists. And I've seen artists beautiful, amazing artists get dropped from a record label after, they get a record deal, they get all this money, they get help essentially. And then they get dropped because they didn't make it on radio. Like, who's listening to traditional radio these days? Like, not many people. And, and it just breaks my heart to see these artists just kind of like, be rejected by the mainstream, if you will. And so I just, I just want to provide a space where they can, evolve in different ways and still have opportunities in film and TV music. And a friend of mine referred to me as, not a manager, but a nurturer. So I liked that, where like I'm there subtly holding them to like allow them to discover their playfulness and their creativity and their sounds and their voice on their own. And like, just like a mother would a child, like, I don't want to be overbearing. I don't want to overstep. I don't want to get in the way. But I have experience in the music industry and the business side and the creative side and all of that I can gently guide them. One of my mottos is, guiding your path on your creative journey, like gently guiding you on your creative journey.
Yes. As people around the world are listening to this and somebody's interested, and reaching out to you. Do you actually have space to have conversations with more artists, or is your plate
Yes.
pretty full right now?
No, I absolutely have space to talk to other artists. I'm especially looking for producers right now. Right now, my husband and one of my artists, Breita, are like my two main producers, and they're working together to produce Breita's album, which is going to be out in October.
Beautiful.
And so I'm looking out for some people with production skills and as producers, and also artists. Like I want to hear music. I have a website, and there's a space for people to write to me on my website and send their music, and also through Instagram. I just launched my Instagram and my website just a year ago. So it's been a 3-year journey with Subtle Mother, and it's going at her pace because I was working in a corporate job until February, and now I'm not in that position anymore, so I can spend a lot more time on nourishing Subtle Mother.
I think there's such wisdom in what you're sharing here, Marcy, about having this incredible vision and inspiration, and then allowing the pieces to work together. So often we feel like we have to have I was watching an advertisement yesterday, and the person was talking about how she was 8 months pregnant and she was starting a new business. And I thought, you know what, that's just what life is like, right? If we allow the spaces to move like they're supposed to, rather than trying to cram them into, this is done, now I'm going to do this. If we allow the colors to bleed through, and taking part of who we were and are from the corporate world or the regular 9 to 5 job or whatever that happens to look like, and yet be listening to this incredible creative side that each and every one of us has, and allowing that to open up. And I know that my husband, when he was in middle school in choir, he loves music. The first iPod I ever purchased was for him, and I had it engraved for the music lover in my life. Now I'm musically trained, right? My degree in college was all about music, and yet the first person that I'm buying one for is for him. That's how much he just exudes music. He just is this musical being. And his choir teacher in middle school said, "You don't have a very good voice," and that stopped his singing at that point. So what I really love that what you are doing is, even in this conversation, for people who are maybe not necessarily musicians, if you have had somebody in your life who has said thank you but no, that was their opinion in that particular time. It is not a binding that you need to live with the rest of your life by any means.
No, not at all. And I'm remembering like that first ceremony where Subtle Mother came through. The artist Breita that I'm working with right now, that ceremony was his first time singing, and he was he had gone to Berkeley for jazz percussion, jazz composition. So he's a drummer, and he's an incredible drummer. Holy moly!
Yeah,
he just started finding his voice, and now he's one of my favorite voices ever. Like
amazing.
When he sings, I listen. When he speaks, I listen. And he's playing guitar, and he's learning all sorts of different instruments. He's learning how to play the didgeridoo, and he's in a constant state of just like exploring and playing. And he's got this massive book of songs, and he has this way of he can like sing in Spanish, and he can sing in various ancient languages and tribal languages like Yawanawa, and not dead languages, but close to extinct languages, and bring these prayers of these languages out through his voice. And it's incredible. And same with Kalakura, one of my artists. She lives in Switzerland, and she sings in like 8 different languages, and one of them is Aramaic. And yeah. And she, she's going through a Sufi healing training right now. And she's a Sangoma, which is an South African healing tradition. And she sings in French, and then she sings in her father's language. He's from the Ivory Coast. And so Subtle Mother really wants to bring all of these ways of expressing out into the world that people might not have access to otherwise, in a really beautiful way that's accessible, that's like that is palatable and enjoyable. So
Marcy, what do you see next for you, for Subtle Mother? As you were looking at the next, you say that Subtle Mother is 3 years at this point. As you look at the next 2 to 5 years, kind of what are your thoughts at this point?
Well, right now, we're working on a couple of different albums. My ultimate North Star, my dream is to have a piece of lands where I can have like a retreat center that has recording studios there and living quarters and, a home base where Danny and I can have musicians and producers come have record their album, record their music, create, but also have a fire going through the entire thing to treat it like a ceremony, to treat their recording and their creative process as if it were a ceremony. No plant medicines needed. Now that just, maybe cacao, maybe tobacco, maybe whatever is part of their lineage, honoring who they are and where they came from. So having these like Subtle Mother retreats and just like being a Subtle Mother wants to be like a space holder and a nourisher. So I'm very much in the realm of, discovery, development of a sound and production, and then helping these artists get their music out into the world in a way that is organic and authentic to them, and maybe helping them get into film and TV music a little bit so that we can start sprinkling our media with these healing prayers and these frequencies and vibrations that reach a lot more people, and crossing that bridge and getting medicine music out into the mainstream a little bit more, but in a very respectful way. There's a concert happening in Los Angeles on August 10th with a medicine artist named Murray Kyle. And, the community of the Sangoma Healers, Makosi Foundation, are opening for him. So that's a big deal. For Mother. Yeah, it is. It's such a big deal because one of my teachers, Gogo Akaya from the Makosi Foundation, always sings Murray Kyle songs in ceremony. She covers them. So he has a song called Behold that I'll send you. It's beautiful. And so that's happening. I'm learning that I don't love marketing and I don't love promotion, and running my own social media is challenging. So currently, looking for support in that so that I can really focus. We're in the last stages of Brighta's album, where we're about to get it mastered, and, we're going to release a single soon, and thinking about artwork and whatnot. So I'm in that phase right now. And just like going to various concerts and really getting Subtle Mother's name out there. I've got a solid logo, and I've got all that set up, maybe getting some swag, some hats, yoga mats, whatever, with my stuff on it. So, just she's an LLC now, so she's all, buttoned up. Trademarks.
Yeah.
Got her bank account recently, and so she's still new, but she's doing really cool things. And I'm also, working as a music consultant in film, TV music under the Subtle Mother umbrella. So
beautiful.
So she's like expansive, and I'm able to choose the projects I work on now, and making sure that they're in alignment with who I am and what I believe in. Like, I'm not going to work on horror movies. I'm not going to work on anything with disturbing or lower vibrational content. I'm out there to I work from my heart. My confidence in my career now comes from my heart. So I need to make sure it's always in alignment. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm taking that with me the rest of the day, that you're working from your heart. Yes, the way that you said that is just so powerful, because we get to come to these points in our life where we get to make decisions about what the next steps look like.
Yes.
We get to decide, are we going to take from the past? And there have been some great things that have happened for you in your past, for me in my past, for our listeners in their past. But then what can we take the time to listen and be selective and determine what we want to bring from our past into our right now?
Yeah. Somebody told me to be like a horse, like the horses are always looking forward. They're keeping their heads up, and they're looking forward. They're not focused on the past. And I really had to learn that my past experiences, like as much shame or guilt or whatever comes with addiction, like all of that made me who I am today. It like proved to me that I'm strong enough. Like there's been so many times where I've been at the top of my game and something has knocked me off and I'm down at the bottom, I lost a job, so on and so forth. And then I have to build up again. And I recently lost my job, and there were massive layoffs in my company back in February. And so I was laid off. My husband's going through a second stage 4 cancer diagnosis. Lost my cat of 16 years. So that in the last 6 months, the last 2 years, all of this stuff has been happening. And so it's just another opportunity for me to like gather all of my backpack of tools and, you know, all of my love and all of my confidence and my faith and my trust in God.
Right.
And Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene are my crew, and Taita and my community, and knowing that I'm not doing this alone.
Right.
And to slowly start walking up that mountain again.
Yes.
And so I'm in the walking up the mountain stage again. And as challenging as it feels sometimes, you know, it's exercise.
It is. And you also have the knowledge that you have done each of these different things before, perhaps in a different way, perhaps for in a different version of it. But every single thing that you are doing now is something that you have in some version had success with in the past. And so therefore, maybe it takes a little bit longer, but maybe you also come at it from a different perspective of how you are choosing to climb the mountain. Maybe it's not a direct to the top this time. Maybe it's let's enjoy this view for a moment.
Right.
Enjoy this over here. You know, I've known you and Danny for a number of years, and the picture that both of you posted individually of the two of you together in Colombia, it was the most expansive picture I've ever seen of you guys. And you guys are photographed because of who you are. There are pictures of you out there, right? And yet to see this version of who you are right now is just so expansive and shiny and fun and reflective and joyous. And it's just a beautiful,
healthy. Like to see nobody believes when they see him that he's battling cancer. He's got full head of hair. He looks like Bruce Lee. He's hiking right now. He's like running up a mountain as we speak. He's running up a mountain. But like his getting healthy has made me healthier in so many ways. So, you know, and a new tool I have going up the mountain this time is hiking boots. I've never had hiking boots before. I got my first pair of hiking boots before Colombia, and we hiked up a pyramid in Colombia. And we had to use ropes to climb. And I had hiking boots for the first time. So I felt like the traction. I had ankle support. I was like, they were comfortable and light and amazing. And I was like, this is game changing. And I feel like in my life right now, the new tool that I have is like equivalent to hiking boots.
Yes.
You know, like I've got the support, I've got the traction. I'm not going to slip back. I'm going to just keep moving up using, you know, the rope and this and that. So the walking up the pyramid was like such a great metaphor for where I am right now. And I made it to the top with no out of breath, nothing, you know?
Yes.
That's where the picture of Danny and I was taken, at the top of the pyramid.
So good.
So good.
Good.
Yes. So good.
Well, friend, I would love for you to reiterate anything or share something new that you would like to. In the remaining time that we have, I've loved this conversation.
Me too. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I think just the peaceful heart is something that's I'm going to be writing about it in I do a newsletter for Subtle Mother that comes out every 2 weeks, every other Monday. And I'm really excited to write this piece about the peaceful heart and protecting your peace. You know, like all of us have been through stuff in our lives, and there's so much that wants to knock us off of our peace game. And, you know, our peace is sacred. Waking up in the morning and saying, I have faith, I have peace, I am safe, and I am sacred. And that's what I do. I wake up every morning and I say that. And when I'm in the shower, I call upon the water to ground me into my body. And I thank it for cleansing anything that needs to be cleansed off of my body. And, I get down on my knees and I pray. And lately I'm praying for my peace to be extra protected, and for me to do everything I can to protect that peace that I have worked so hard for in my life, and understanding that there's going to be people and situations that want to knock it down. And my purpose right now is to make sure that it stays strong and it stays at the forefront. So when I'm going through hard times, my peaceful heart comes in and just reminds me that my breath is beautiful, that I am beautiful, that I am strong, and that I am capable, that my cats love me, my family loves me, my friends.
Yes, we do.
Oh, thank you. And so, my mind will want to start telling me a story from the past that may or may not be true, or a story about this person feeling this way, or I'm being judged or whatever. And peaceful heart swoops in, and it's just like, it's okay. Don't worry about them. They're doing their thing. If they have an issue with you, it's up to them to come talk to you about it. It's not up to you to figure it out in your head using your imagination based on stories you've been telling yourself for years that aren't true. So the peaceful heart and the protection of my peace is the most sacred thing to me right now. And that helps me protect my sobriety. That helps me better protect and nurture and be with artists during their vulnerable times of creation. It helps me sit with somebody who's going through a really hard time, where I can just breathe. I don't need to do anything else but just breathe and just bring my Reiki through. And just be, my authentic self is all anybody or all the world needs, and that comes with peace.
Yes. So. Oh, Marcy, thank you so much for carving out time for this conversation. And I just appreciate you so much, friend.
I appreciate you too, Sarah. I just love, and I feel so blessed to have you in my life. So blessed.
So blessed that we are together. Thanks, Jessica, for introducing us.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica. No, I remember spending the weekend with you for the Reiki training. And I got to stay in your house and be cared for by you and go for a walk with you. And it was just such a beautiful, gentle time in my life.
Yeah, and we got to do cacao together with Allie, and how incredible that was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess you could say I've done plant medicine if you consider cacao, because it was
absolutely
so good and healing and beautiful.
Oh, yeah, cacao is sacred medicine for me.
Yeah. Exactly. Beautiful.
Sorry for that noise. I don't know what just happened.
Well, all is well. Thank you. And to our dear friends who are staying to the very, very end, we get every single month how people are listening in on the program and what our numbers are around the world, right? The thing that I just get giddy about every single month is that our listeners, the people who are here for Simply Sarah, we blow the industry standard away for how long people listen in to the show. And I just want to thank you so much for finding goodness in this, for choosing to listen, for choosing to consider how these conversations can expand your life, can encourage your heart. And I tell you, I'm holding on to that idea of a peaceful heart from today's conversation. I'll be thinking about that for days and looking at how I can better implement and protect my heart also in that space. Just so grateful for you. Until next time, take care of yourself.